Hi FlossTube friends, this is Tina Frazier coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. Today is Monday, September 1st, 2025. It is Labor Day here in the United States, and a lot of us here in the US have this as a federal holiday, so a lot of us have today off. So thank you very much for stopping by. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about mostly my love of cross stitch, but also my love of other crafts. I throw some life updates in general in as well, and also share some other hobbies that I have, including roller derby and diamond painting, and other hobbies such as ghost hunting and just all the things that I like to do in my spare time. So thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, again, this is my channel, my YouTube channel, where I talk about mostly my love of cross stitch and just some other things. So thank you for stopping by. I always like meeting new friends, and I'm glad to meet you. So thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning watcher, thank you very much for stopping back by. Friends are always great to spend time with, and you're no exception. So thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with me here on YouTube. And if you're a returning subscriber, all of my subscribers are good friends, so thank you very much for spending time with me, and I'm really glad to have you as a friend, so thank you very much. If you haven't already done so, I encourage you to click the subscription button below and also click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload new content. I've been trying to upload new content, and you see my cat Mouse. Mousy. That is my cat Mouse, M-A-U-S. She is a sweetheart of a cat. She's the smallest of our 5 cats. Yes, we have 5 cats. And she is enjoying the nice open windows and the nice weather today. And I'm sitting in my craft room in the front corner bedroom of our house here in central Ohio. So anyway, that is Mouse. She is just enjoying spending time here with Mom today. So hopefully you'll kind of get some pictures of her. She's a sweetheart of a cat, aren't you? Turn around this way. Aren't you, sweetheart? Aren't you? Mouse likes to fetch. I have my bonfires. Let me put this behind me. I have my bonfires, hot cocoa pumpkins, and hayride shirt on today because it is starting to turn into fall, you guys. It's cooling down a lot. The evenings are getting cold here. At the end of this week, we could have the potential of highs in the 40s and 50s this week. So we're really looking forward to the change of weather and everything like that. So this video, I'm planning on recording and uploading a couple of videos today, but this video in particular is the Camp Gottastitch Stitching Retreat wrap-up video. So my local needlework shop here in Columbus, My Heart Ltd, they host a stitching retreat every year in the late summer or early fall up in Amish Country in central Ohio. And this year's Camp Gottastitch retreat was last weekend. So this video is going to be kind of my wrap-up video of Camp Gottastitch, and Mom and I attended the retreat and had a lot of fun. It was a great relaxing time away, and I will talk to you a little bit more about it, but I'm going to go ahead and insert some of the stuff for you here in just a little bit, and you'll get kind of an experience of what it was like. We had a great time, and I'll kind of talk to you a little bit more about some of the stuff afterwards, and also show you some hauls. Sorry about the noise in the background. There's some stuff going on in other parts of the house, so sorry about that. And you might actually hear outside noise because I have the windows open for some nice fresh air in the craft room. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pause here so I can insert some of the footage and pictures and stuff that I took during our Camp Gottastitch retreat last weekend in Berlin, Ohio. So grab something to drink, grab your stitching, sit back and enjoy. Hi everybody.
Hi.
This is Tina.
And I'm Edith.
And where are we headed?
We're headed to Camp Gottastitch in Berlin, Ohio.
And what's that?
Huh?
What's that?
That's an Amish country.
Okay, but what is Camp Gottastitch?
Camp Gottastitch is a cross-stitching retreat
Hosted by?
hosted by Cross My Heart cross-stitch place.
Here in Columbus.
Uh-huh.
So it's their annual retreat that they've been holding for like over 30 years. And it's usually up in Amish Country, and we're looking forward to it. We finally got packed up. It's about 11:20 on Friday, August 23rd. So
Yeah.
the 23rd. Anyway, we're heading out. We have about an hour and a half drive or so. We're gonna stop at Sheetz and get take up the gas tank and everything like that. So we'll see you soon.
Bye.
You looking forward to the trip?
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure yet. I don't know. I haven't really been thinking about it much.
You haven't, huh?
No. Just had a lot to do. But anyway, so we're heading out. We'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. We're here at Sheetz getting stuff before we head on out to the stitching retreat.
We have donuts. I have coffee.
And I have orange juice.
Yay. So we're heading out. We have about an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and a half or so to get up there. So we're taking Route 62 up through Johnstown.
Oh, okay.
So I wish I had a phone thing for my car dashboard so I could stick the phone up and record some of the drive, but I don't.
Ah.
So we're just kind of winging it. So we'll see you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Card was really excited. He decided he was going to do a twin. And they do twins now all the time, so if one breaks down, they have the parts, because these machines in the wood, 500 years old, they can't replace that. So anyway, he told his employees, and they were so upset, they thought they were going to lose their job. They killed him that day.
Oh!
And that's the truth. Unbelievable. And that today, they're still doing this technique. Most of you I know have heard of Kreinik.
Yep.
And the metallics. Doug's parents went over to Germany and got to go through the factories, which I did. And at that time, they had machines that were doing shoelaces. Now, shoelaces are getting popular again now, but in the 70s, they were kind of like not so sweet. And Mr. Kreinik said, could I buy one of the shoelace machines, and because you're not really using it, and take it to America? Because he was studying it. They worked, Mr. and Mrs. Kreinik worked for the space program in Florida and created the suits that the astronauts wore, so they were fireproof. I mean, and then they came to our industry. It's just amazing. So, anyway, Doug, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Kreinik, brought his son to Michigan, and I was kind of showing him different places, because I've taught with Doug a lot, for his son to go to school. His son committed suicide.
I didn't know that.
Remember the shoelaces that were made to stop?
I remember those. Yes. I have some of those, yeah.
And they were made on that machine that Grandpa kind of
wow.
And it's just really, our industry is really interesting. There's so many things that have happened.
Yeah,
So
I thought
anyway, thanks for letting me share.
I actually got.
They did a,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, he did a thing at Cross
Presentation?
Yeah.
I went down. My in-laws used to live down in Williamstown, West
Yeah,
Virginia, and
yeah.
I finally took a day and went down to Parkersburg to Kreinik and walk around. It was fascinating.
And now it's not there anymore.
And now it's not there anymore.
Now they
But,
sold
that
off
was
to California to
Yeah,
Rainbow.
he retired. Doug
He was there
retired.
like 3 weeks and the fires hit. And
Oh,
I did not
geez.
get them, but they helped with people. And I was just talking to Jenny, Rainbow's struggling to keep up with the orders. With
Oh,
what
yeah.
they do. And they have over 150 looms on order to get spinning again. All their threads and all Crynex threads. So it's kind of like, oh my goodness, it's really interesting. So, all right, I'm almost there, gals. This, I already figured this out for you, so don't be reading. Oh, don't worry. Well, I don't like having it. Oh, I know. They have it on the floor. It's my stuff, you know, it's okay. It's not your stuff.
This is amazing.
Okay, so I want you to take your pencil out, and we have our first sheet, obviously, and we're going to start with the alphabet when you're ready. I will tell you that I did everything with one strand except the Florentine, which is like what you're doing on your needlepoint over there. I used 3. But it depends on your color.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not thick enough, you'll know you want to use 2 and maybe 4. And we'll pass it around, so don't be worried. But this is the thing. You're going to want to measure down 1.5 inches. And then you're going to leave 8 naked threads from here. So, somewhere I had a measure to show you what I was doing. It might be over here.
We have a tape measure in
there
our
you
thing.
go. Good. No, that's right.
That's yours.
Yes, you should have one. You all have one? Yes. I mean,
So we measure,
they're all different colors. Yes.
say,
All right, I'll
in
get back
8
that
from the side.
So
No,
what we're
in
gonna
a
do-
from here.
Yeah.
All right, from
in
the
8.
top. Ready? You're going to come down 1.5 inches, and if you're not exactly right, it's okay. And then you're going to come over from the side, 8 threads.
Oh my.
And start your A. And I started it on that top. See how there's 2 on the top? That's the top stitch. Okay. So I'm going to put a mark on it, and I'm going to pass it. May I borrow your pen? This is the one I'm starting with. So you don't have to count. You don't have to really do anything. You can just start cross stitching. So down 1.5 inches, and I don't even need that. I was using it for something else. From your top, and then you're going to come over 8 threads. And if you're not by a vertical, come over 9, because I think you'll be happier with your cross stitches.
Okay.
And if you haven't done
So
that,
it's going to go this way
exactly.
and not this
No,
way.
it's going this
This-
way.
right.
So it
Got it.
accents it all.
Got it.
Oh, I
Wait a
can.
minute.
So
where do you go down?
this is
Okay,
the
so
top.
the top part, you're gonna measure down 1.5 inches,
putting a T
but
in
on
the
this
top.
side. And then over
Putting a
A,
T in
you
my
start
top.
with your A, and it's coming around so you can mark it. I think it's right there. The numbers are all cross stitched. And so you have a whole bunch. You can
You need to see.
and not have to do anything that you maybe don't want to do, like a fancy stitch. And these actually, you see the 9 and the 0, and if you look on your picture on the back, you'll see how it's dropped down. This is historical. When little girls did their stitching, they hemmed the whole piece first, and then they fit in what they were fitting in. And that's why so many of them drop their letters down. Their words aren't complete. I mean, we don't think of it. We do our work and then we finish it. But they had to hem it so they didn't lose any of the threads in the fabric. And so that's why I dropped the 9 and the 0 down below. So it was kind of historical. And I wrote that on there so you'll know. You're being like little girls in the 1700s.
And that's why things are usually wonky on set.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you'll have a saying, but like a couple of the words may. I saw one where the words kind of wrap this way.
Yeah.
I'm just
Now
like,
you know why.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that. I'm always wanting to know why. And all the times that I had been studying my samplers, I finally found someone, she's actually in her 90s now, and she said, oh, Susan, they hemmed everything to save the fabric, so there was no waste. And I thought, brilliant. And
Yeah.
that's why some of the hems are real tiny, and some of them are wider.
were they? I'm assuming they were all hand stitched hems too.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
all were. And one of these is, I have different finishes on whatever you want. But that is why, first of all, I dropped the 9 and the 0 down. I just thought we had to pretend like we're little girls in school or whatever. Then we have the tulip, and I love the Netherlands. It just is one of the things that I enjoy, their samplers. Here's this guy, if you want to mark where I started over there. Did you get it on yours?
I think I did.
Okay, that's close enough. You're good. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Again, don't worry if you're off a little bit. We're good. We're like the young girls. We ran out of room and we had too much. We put a button on it because we had too much.
Yes. Yes.
We do dot it up. So the tulip is obviously the sign of the Netherlands, and it's a sign of new beginnings, and they use it definitely for baby samplers. And I just really one of my samplers. So that too is cross stitch. So then we have a few fancy stitches I'll talk about in just a minute, but if you don't want to do them, you can do cross stitch. You can do smyrna cross. You can do crosses. You can do anything you want. Okay? I don't want you getting shook up on me. So then you go down and we have the tree of life over here. And again, that's a universal symbol all over Europe and now America. And a lot of times this will be on a sampler with documentation of birth, and they didn't document that. We talked about that earlier yesterday or the day before. Especially girls. We would pass away. And within your season, so I would have that. But still, you would come after me and they'd give you the same name. Oh, yeah, if I was born next, right? Yes, yeah. And that was what they did. They did not document. And one of the girls here, she goes, I know, I found that out in her genealogy, that a baby had passed away and there was a written note slid inside the Bible with her date and everything, and nobody even knew anything about it because it wasn't stitched on the line. And then the second child, girl, had the same name. And that was really normal for girls. So you were the second, and you would have the name of the first baby girl that passed away.
Oh, really?
And that's always they did it differently. Grandparents or that's why I found the little tree of life. The hearts that are down there are just an upright cross stitch, and I thought that it was important to have it on there. Do you see the back stitching here? It's called grill work. This is on grill work, and I wrote it down. Okay, you don't have to be stressing on this stuff unless I say you need to write this down. Grill, just like we had in Savannah and everywhere now, with the metal and everything. But it was really, really popular in England. And of course they brought it over to America, and we loved it too. And then we just have some little scallopy things with flowers in them, which was a complete border around one of my samplers. And then the same thing on a little bit. I pull little pieces out. If you haven't looked at what I'm stitching over there, I never stitch a full pattern. I do little pieces because I just can't do a full pattern. I just don't have the time. And I want to have stitch. I want to have fun. So I'm doing like a snowman on something, and then I'll do the reindeer on something else. And then I have two patterns and two presents and all that. So that gives you the history on the majority of the stuff, except this is called Florentine work. And I know she has her piece over there. Florentine work, we call it Margiela.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just going to ask you that.
Yep, and it was founded or became popular in Italy. So they called it Florentine work, and then they called it Margiela. So let's look at the pattern sheet that has our tulip on it, because the first page is all cross stitch. Okay. The tulip, as I talked about, was from the Netherlands. We have the herringbone. Okay. If you decide you want to do the herringbone, it's going to tell you to turn your work because it's on the side of the tulip. Again, you don't want to do it. You'll practice it if you want, so don't worry. So, but again, if you look at your back, you should be able to see it.
There you go.
Right, a quarter of a turn.
There you go, right there. That's the full pattern. Is
Every line on there is a thread.
Down.
So we'll talk about when we practice, it's up and over 2 and 4, okay? So don't worry. But I want to talk about this stitch. This is the oldest stitch that they have found. And stitches didn't have names. They just were lines and twigs. They landed in the country and they became popular there. This landed in the area of Denmark and that part of the world. And they, for their livelihood, fished for herring. And this looks like the spine of the herring. And that's why why it got that name. So oldest stitch that they really, I mean, cross stitch is definitely the oldest, but the oldest fancy stitch. So yeah, just go ahead and enjoy looking. So the next one is just great big X's over four with pluses inside of them. So that's nothing unusual. Then down below, again, this is one, if you decide, it takes the most time. It's called the Montenegrin.
Oh, I've done this.
And it's got, look at all the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 legs section. But it's only over 2 threads. Yeah, it is. So you can do cross stitches. I see. Okay. This stitch was really famous in England. And there were all the classes there, everywhere. But there was the rich, and then there were the poverty. And the people that were in the military, their outfits, their braids was real gold. And this was made to replicate the look of that braid. And it does look like it. So, I mean, they have history, and I hope you don't mind. I just love sharing it. So,
No,
yeah,
I love it.
I love it. Thank you. If not, I apologize. No, it's like, I love
Making movies, because to me it's more
costumes.
oh yeah, and set up and why
I like
they did
that.
it a certain
I like the
way.
why. Okay, so the next page, remember I talked about the grill work, just back stitching, nothing unusual. And again, this is from a sampler that actually was done in Great Britain, and they have the same grill work on a sampler in Charleston.
Okay.
So somebody came over and brought the pattern with them, and then it got done here, or they did it there and they brought it with them, we don't know. But it's in samplers in the UK, and it's in one here. So I think that stuff is really fascinating. All right, the next one is the fanciest stitch on here. And this is one that has all different kind of legs. And again, you don't have to do it, be a great place to put your initials for the day. Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threads high. You could definitely put a nice initial in there. But the thing of it is, if you kind of look, and I know it's small, I have to enlarge this one these days, all of the stitches go from the outside down into the center. This isn't pulled open. I just did it flat. And the first one is over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have it numbered to go around. You can go left to right or right to left. Again, I'm left-handed. This is the way it was done historically. All right, let me talk about alphabets. So the J was not part of the Latin alphabet until the 1800s. And if you look at like Johann, the J was there, so they didn't say it, Johann, and so they didn't use it. The other thing is, and I didn't go this far, but if it was a double S, like SS to something like it, it would be 2 Fs. That you'll see 2 Fs and then double S.
So Mississippi would be MIFF.
That's right. Yeah, isn't that weird? But it is. And then a lot of the times you would not see a V or a U. You would see the W for all 3 of those letters. Right. Because they just didn't use them. And then they started using the J more. But thank you. But the J is Yay, I love it. You guys are asking questions. Thank you.
Or in German, like the 2 S's together, it looks like
They mesh together, I'm getting ready, in I think 16 days, taking a group to Scotland. And I take people to different places. We're going to go to Williamsburg again next year, and I do have flyers just if you want to read them.
Christmas in Williamsburg.
Oh, wow.
All this we need to do.
Well, it's reasons.
No, I get it.
It's something to do.
So, I know years ago, it was run by one group of people, and now somebody else is taking it over. And
Okay, hi everybody.
Hi, this is exciting. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
This is Tina, and this is
Susan Greening Davis. Hi.
and Susan was our guest here at Camp Gottastitch this weekend. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. 51 years I've been in the industry, longer than anybody that's still alive or doing it. I love it. And to come to a camp and be part of it with stitching, I live through these girls vicariously with all the things they stitch. Because most of you know I'm kind of always creating and stuff, but I love it. I love what I do, and I am grateful and thankful for all of you. Keep stitching.
Yeah. Susan is a really great source of knowledge for all things historically samplery.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's good. You did good.
And so she knows all kinds of stuff. If you ever want to know the history of like stitches and kind of where textiles came from, she is a great resource to get to know.
Thank you. I just had a picture sent to me last night of someone that was wanting to know about a sampler, and I was really honored that I could guide her which way to go, because there are a lot of reproductions out there now.
Yeah.
So you have to know what to look for.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing reproductive samplers?
I've
or
been
reproduction not reproductive samplers.
Yeah, well,
that
there
was
you
a
go.
little
That's
weird.
a whole other world. Let me see. The first one was Sybil, and Sybil would have been 9 years ago now.
9 years.
And yeah, I just finished the last one, which was a really 1727 and all blue one. And don't do as many as I used to, because they take a lot of time, and I really would come and play.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So Susan also does a lot of overseas, not really retreats, but like tours and stuff.
Yeah.
Where she does more like historical. She'll take you to historical things. You learn a lot of stuff. You take classes. She's going to Scotland.
Yeah,
in
we
2 weeks.
leave September 8th, and Carol from the stitching shop is going, and we get into places nobody gets into. But what I'm really excited about is, before we had our COVID, all that stuff, I would take groups to Williamsburg, and they would let me get into places that were not open to the public and study stuff. Well, they let us in last year again.
Oh, wow.
And so I have another one coming up in 2026, and that's good if you can't travel overseas.
Right.
And drivable for a lot of people, so it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to now being a regular at Williamsburg.
Yep. So Susan came to camp last year, which was the first year that I got to meet Susan. She's been really great. She's a lot of fun to talk to. She provided us with a really nice class yesterday that we
Thank
had,
you. Yeah.
and she's just a great person to get to know. So I will put her information for her website and other stuff, so you can get in contact with her if you're interested in learning more about any of her trips and anything else that she does.
Thank you.
And I will put her information down in the description below for you, so you can be in contact with her.
And I will say, I'm really, really great on my emails. I answer them. And I know there's ins and outs of Facebook, but Facebook for me is letting you know about stuff. Right now my web is a little weary because my web girl's got a really big promotion, and it's a big company. It's not me. But anyway, just ask me anything, and I'll tell you true. If I don't know, I'll tell you true.
Yep. So Susan's been around the industry for quite a long time, and our industry is really lucky to have her.
Thank you. We're lucky to have you. I'm excited. First person I saw, I said, "Oh my gosh, I love the purple hair." And it's just like, "Oh, you're back." Thank you. Thank you.
So it's really good to see Susan again this year. So hopefully she'll have a lot more. You'll get a lot more coverage.
Oh, thank you. I'm not real good at this. You've learned a lot. I mean, I just am not. So thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. And hopefully, we can get some word out, and you'll get more inspiration, more followers, be able to meet more of us.
That's what I want. I just want to see all your stitching. I mean, it's just so exciting to come to a camp like this and see the versatile, whatever, I said that wrong, and the fabrics and I mean the threads. We are just blessed.
My finger was cramping up. But anyway, so thank you, Susan. Thank you for talking with me. It was great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And have a good trip, and we'll be catching you soon.
All right, until we see each other again, be safe and be healthy.
Yes,
Please.
exactly. Yep. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. You gonna be okay walking that far?
Yeah.
Okay. Want some fresh road apple?
No, don't want fresh road apple.
Want some brown pancakes?
No.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think this is neat. I see they have a shovel to pick up the road apples.
Yep.
A lot of horses must come through here.
Yeah. It's on a trail. Okay, great. So welcome back. We have a lot of stuff. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I shared an interview that I did with Susan Greening Davis. Susan Greening Davis was a guest host, I guess you would call her, at Camp Gottastitch. Susan Greening Davis is well known and widely respected in the cross-stitch community as a breadth of knowledge of all kinds of historical sampler things. So she has spent many years in the industry learning all about historical samplers and reproducing historical samplers and doing all kinds of stuff. She's a remarkably fun person to talk to. She is so sweet. She came to camp last year as well and taught us a couple of things last year, and this year she also brought a special retreat thing, so that was really special. And just getting to spend the weekend with her was truly remarkable. I really loved her last year, and I loved her even more. And she was gracious enough to sit down with me and do a video. So I hope you really liked my quick little interview that I did with Susan Greening Davis. I will put her information down below. But before I go much further, I will actually show you a little bit of this. Okay. There we go. All right. So, Susan Greening Davis, she has a website. It is susangreeningdavis.com, and she says, she calls herself Still Stitching with Susan Greening Davis. She offered a special class that we could sign up for this wonderful, it's kind of like a sewing travel kit. So she offered this class to take with her on Saturday during the retreat, and I signed up for the class. And this is phenomenal. What a great thing. So when we moved over to the table in the one side of the room, we were handed this nice little cloth bag. I believe the fabric from this is some of the prairie fabric. Susan is collaborating with Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura Ingalls Wilder on the Little House on the Prairie series of television shows long time ago, to do a special project with her. And I believe this is some of the prairie fabrics that will be available as part of the collaboration that Susan Greening Davis is doing with her. But the kit came in, so you can see here the kit came in this little bag. So when you open it up, this is what the kit looks like. So we had a little piece of fabric that had needles and stuff with it. So this is called a remnant patchwork sewing kit, and this is by April Cornell for Modern Prairie. Modern Prairie is the name of the company that Susan is working with Melissa Gilbert on the special project that's coming up later this year. So we have this wonderful little remnant patchwork sewing kit. The colors in here don't do this justice. It's kind of washed out, but I believe these are also this might not be prairie fabrics, but anyway. So when you open up the kit, you have, this is what the kit looks like. I'll take this stuff out. So you have this nice little sewing notions thing. We got all the little needles that are in here, the safety pins. We have a nice little scissor charm that we were given. There's a couple of thread bobbins in here and a cloth tape measure. And then this little bit here is where you can put your scissors. You can attach your scissors in there to safekeep. And there's also a little pouch here that you can stick stuff in. Really nice, really gorgeous little needle travel kit, accessory kit. So one of the things that was included with the kit is the instructions for sewing this little sampler here. Susan gave a talk about the history of the sampler, so we have the instructions on how to do the specialty stitches. There are upright cross stitches, side herringbones, the Montenegrin stitch, the diamond eyelet, a backstitch grow work, baby flowerets. Let's see, what others? There's some Bargello work, some Smyrna crosses, and some upright crosses, and a 4-sided stitch as well. It's included in this little sampler. So we got the pattern for the sampler, and she also talked about the history of some of the stitches. I recorded a little bit of the class with you. I didn't really necessarily include, I had my camera pointed up me just a minute. Oh, there we go. So that my thing. So I didn't want to. I had my phone camera sitting on the table with the camera facing upwards during that bit, because I didn't want to catch anybody that didn't want to be on camera. So, and I wasn't really sure if Susan really wanted the class on there, but she went through some of the history of the stitches for this. So during the class, one of the things that was also included is this Gentle Art Sampler Thread Royal Purple 0840 thread. And this is kind of a blue. There's a little bit of purple in it, but it's kind of a blue to go along with the kit. And so we also got a piece of this nice little purple banding. It's a really pretty color of, I think, a plum, or like a, I don't know, kind of a lavender color. You're not going to get the truest color match on this because, you know, of the light saturation in here. But Susan is also known for bringing her banding. She went overseas, and one of the companies, for the longest time, there was only one company that was producing stitching banding, where you could stitch on strips of cloth that already had the finished edges. And she went and basically bought up everything that they had left, and she travels with her stash of banding and sells her banding at all the events and stuff that she goes to. So this piece of banding was some that she had cut for us to make the sampler here, so it would be finished for us. So essentially what we do is we stitch the sampler on here, we fold up the edges, and then we can tack it on to the front of our little travel needle case, so it will look something like that. And it would have the stitch sampler on there. There is also a thin little strip. So the lavender strip, if you look right here, the lavender strip, you put a nice little motif on the strip, and then the strip, when you open that, the strip goes right across down here. So it becomes kind of a personalized little thing. I didn't think that the blue would go really well here. It's going to go really well on the other piece of banding, the little purple banding. But I went through my stash because you know, I was stitching with a friend's stash this weekend, and she had this Victoria's Motto thread. This is burgundy ribbons, and I thought this would go really well with the banding. So I'm going to be using burgundy ribbon to stitch the sampler. I did not actually start stitching on this because I was kind of busy talking and just visiting and you know, just doing some other things. So I actually did not get started on my kit, but I am going to get started on this pretty soon. So this is the one class that I took from Susan Greening Davis at Camp Gottastitch. Enjoyed it immensely. If you ever have the chance to meet her and talk to her, I encourage you to do so. She has a wealth of knowledge on all things like historical cross stitch and samplers, if you ever need to know the information. So that was our kit from Susan Greening Davis at Camp Gottastitch. one of the things, I didn't bring it in here to show you. Nope, I don't have it in here to show you. It's actually in the living room. But this year, I wanted another piece of banding, like the banding that I got for the Shannon Christine Designs Autumn Drinks. So when I was at camp, I picked up this piece of banding to go with the Summer Drinks pattern, also by Shannon Christine Designs. I will try and put up a picture of Shannon Christine's Summer Drinks pattern on here. This is the light isn't picking this up, but this is kind of a almost like a, I would almost say not a bright lime green, but kind of a pear green almost. This is kind of a pear green, and I think the Summer Drinks would go really well on here. So I picked up this nice little banding. I figured at some point, you know, because of the holes at the top, I could probably take some ribbon, some colorful ribbon that'll match the colors in the stitching once I get it done, and maybe weave the ribbon through the holes. But this is some more banding that I picked up from Susan Greening Davis at camp. Really had a good time. So one of the good things that happens at Camp Gottastitch every year, there's a theme every year. And each year the ladies at Cross My Heart, when they come up with a theme, they come up with themed projects and just themed stuff all through the weekend for you. And your cost of the retreat, not only does it include your food on Friday night and Saturday night and the hotel breakfast on each morning, and it includes your hotel room. So the cost of the retreat includes your hotel room. But you also get free kits throughout the weekend. And this weekend's, last weekend's Camp Gottastitch retreat theme was Stitch Around the Clock. Now think, you know, 50s poodle skirts and, you know, rocking around the clock and stuff. So on the tables, there were these centerpieces. So if you can see these centerpieces, these two trays are made out of 45 records. So it's Stitch Around the Clock. I don't know where the records came from, but Marla, one of the ladies that works in the store, she took some records from somebody's stash and she put a glass bowl upside down and melted these 45s in her oven to make the top part of these. There was one of these for every table, and at the end of the retreat, lucky person who had a sticker under their seat got to take these home. There was 4 of us at our table, and nobody wanted to take it home, so I offered to take it home. So this is a nice little kind of tiered tray setup made with glass candle holders and 45 records. So this is part of the Stitch Around the Clock thing. So I have a nice little tiered tray. I came home and re-glued the re-hot glued the pieces together to make them a little more stable. So we have that. I have a little tiered tray. We got this free chart. This is from Boulder Valley Stitching. This is called Stitching Friends. Best retreat table ever. We got the stitching kit for that. So this is the stitching retreat kit for best retreat table ever. When you sign up for camp, you pick whether you're an Aida stitcher, or a linen stitcher. And I am a linen stitcher, so I was given a nice piece of, this is kind of like cream linen, and the threads for stitching the Stitching Friends thing. So we got the DMC threads for stitching the Stitching Friends thing. So we could either do Retreat Besties, Best Retreat Table Ever, or Stitching Friends. I'm probably going to do Stitching Friends myself. I don't know if I'll do Best Retreat Table Ever. But yeah, so we got this. This was one of the kits that we got through the weekend. when we showed up and sat down at our table, each spot at the table had these little boxes, and each box had these records on it. So, sitting on top of the box, were these little frog containers. So this was sitting just like this at each of our seats around the building. It's a nice little cardboard box. And then aside of the cardboard box was our stitching kit. So we got a piece of banding. So we got a nice piece of banding to stitch on. When you finish stitching, you take your banding and you wrap it around the side of the box. So we got a nice little piece of variegated, I believe this might be cotton floss, but it is a nice piece of variegated floss. And we got 3 little tiny buttons and the needles to stitch it with. But what we stitch on the banding is stitch around the clock 2025. So we are stitching around the clock 2025 is what we will stitch around there. And this is kind of like a record box. So it was, stitch around the clock, kind of like the 50s song, rock around the clock. So that was the whole theme of the weekend this weekend. It was really great. So that was the first kit that we got, was the stitching around the clock thing. So that's going to be a neat little finish when I get around to it. That's going to be kind of neat to go with my tier tray. One of the other things that we got a nice gift from the ladies at Cross My Heart for being retreat attendees. We got a nice little scissor fob, and each of the scissor fobs had a little guitar at the end of it, a little guitar charm. This was the one I got. It's pink and brown, really cute, and it kind of matches the guitar. The guitar is pink and brown. So nice little scissor fob to add to our scissors. Get this all put back together. So it was generally a really good retreat. I did a little bit of shopping while I was there, and I will show you that now, or I will talk to you about it. So my retreat table mates were my mom, Edith. My mom was there with me, and then we sat with our friend Trina. We'd been doing things with Trina, doing retreats with Trina since Stitching in the Springs retreat has been happening. She's been she lives over in the Dayton area in Columbus, or not in Columbus, but in the Dayton area west of Columbus. And she has been going to those same retreats that Mom and I have been going to. And we've been really enjoying spending time with her. She's an older lady. And Trina brought us table gifts. So let me go ahead and show that to you now. Once I get this put off to the side. Trina has brought us table gifts this year. Now I have a lot of my Camp Gottastitch stuff. Oh, that wasn't really thought out. So I put a lot of my camp stitching stuff in the table gift that Trina brought us. So she handed everybody these bags. Not everything in this bag is what Trina gave us, but Trina gave everybody at our table these bags. And in these bags, she had a floss card, which is really nice. She had a nice little notebook, really neat little notebook. It's just a typical notebook. She gave us some finishing discs, some acrylic finishing discs. She said she got this idea from another retreat that she went to where some ladies gave these out. So you can use these for finishing things and mounting your cross stitch projects on. about that in a minute. Talk about that in a minute. Get some of this stuff out. Bear with me just a minute. Yep. And then she gave everybody a pen because, you know, you have a thing. So we had a nice little retreat bag from Trina, our friend. So nice little project bag. This will make a nice little project bag. It's like those mesh pouches you can get. So that was a nice little retreat gift from Trina. I unfortunately wasn't expecting to get any retreat like table gifts, so I didn't make any. I had planned on making some little needle pin cushions, but I got the brilliant idea of doing that the Monday before camp, and I couldn't make 40 of them, so I didn't make any of them. I could have made 4 or 5 of them to give out to my table, but I didn't even make any to give out, so I didn't take any table things. So our parting, well, let me get into this. So this is another little kit that Susan gave to everybody. This was Susan's stitching Camp Gottastitch retreat gift that everybody got. It says, "Thank you for still stitching with me, Susan." And she kind of themed it on the 50s theme, the rock around the clock, or stitching around the clock theme. So she was selling these little scissor fobs for $5 each. All proceeds going to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So she was selling these little record player scissor fobs. You know, these are the ones where you attach your scissors. So you take the little thing and you attach, you put your scissor, you put the eye of your scissors in there, and then you can attach this to your shirt. And so your scissors will always be handy, and it's got the little pull thing here, so you'll never lose your scissors. But she had these little scissor fob things for $5 to raise money for St. Jude's. So I went ahead and bought one of those, and to save your little stitch pieces, she gave you this little tin with the stitching on it, and your whole thing was to stitch "Season's Blessings to All" on the piece of this, and then you can take this nice piece of wool and stick it on the inside, and you make a nice little tin needle box. And she has the threads and the finishing, and a little clock charm as well to go on it, and a little button. So it's a little finishing kit to finish your little metal travel needle book, and your scissor thing will also sit right down inside there. So we have this nice little free gift from Susan from Retreat. Nice. So that was another free little kit. And then the parting retreat kit that we got for the whole stitching around the clock thing was these little vintage clock Mill Hill kits, and these are really cute. So this comes with everything you need. It comes with the perforated paper, the fabric or the floss, and the little charms for the bits, but it's a little alarm clock. And for the stitching around the clock theme, it fits really well. So what they suggested was taking your stitching around the clock box that you got, and you could maybe mount this in the middle or turn it into a stand-up so you have your stitching around the clock sitting on top of your box, or you can kind of maybe mount it on the side as well, depending. on what you do. So this is part of the kit as well. So I am going to actually be putting all my stuff, all my kits in here for the time being. So they're kind of all together and all that jazz. All right. Okay. Oh, so this is the pattern that goes inside the tin. It's called Stitching the Time Away. This goes inside the tin, or on top of the tin rather. This makes the tin cover. Stitching the Time Away. Yep. We were also given these wonderful little Cross My Heart needle minders. Nice rainbow colors. So we got Cross My Heart needle minders. One of the things that Susan was also selling, she had this wonderful little thing. These are those gotcha machine, toy gumball machine little containers. So you have the container, but if you notice, there's a hole in the side of the container. And what she showed everybody, I thought this was remarkable. She had Valdani threads, or you could use your balls of pearl cottons, not perler, pearl cotton threads. If you have the balls of pearl cotton threads, what you do is you stick it in there. You take the string, you feed it kind of through the hole. You feed it through the hole so it comes through. Let me get that pulled for you. And then you put it in here and it acts as a thread protector. And now you can pull this and you use it straight from your container, and it'll keep your little balls of thread, specialty threads, from rolling around and getting dirty. So I picked up 4 of them. I may see if there's a way that I can get some of these myself and put a hole in it without like cracking the plastic or, you know, making it really rough. I'd have to figure out how to make a smooth hole so when you pull the threads through, it doesn't snag your threads. But nice little idea for keeping your Valdani thread balls or your pearl cotton balls or whatnot clean and keep them from rolling away. So I got a couple of these for my stash because I have some Valdani threads and also some pearl cotton balls. Cross My Heart had a few things for sale here. I will talk about the other one I picked up. I picked up 3 other needle minders at Cross My Heart, or at Camp Gottastitch. So we have Stitch Happens. This is from a Stitcher's Best Friend. A Stitcher's Best Friend is a lady here in the Columbus area who has an Etsy shop, Stitcher's Best Friend, and she took some needle minders and stuff to the shop a couple of weeks ago, and the shop bought some of her needle minders and brought them to camp. So I picked up Stitch Happens, and then this was a really super cute cat one that I picked up, a little cartoon cat. So I picked up 2 other needle minders this weekend, and I picked up a 3rd one that I will show you here in a bit because the 3rd one is super special. And I'll get into why this weekend was super special here in a bit. Get into that a little bit later. I also picked up the 2025 Prairie Schooler Santa. Partly because if you've watched my recent videos, you know that a friend of mine here in town passed away in March, and I've got quite a bit of her stash on hand. And she was an avid prairie schooler stitcher. So I have a lot of her prairie schooler things, and also my coworker's mom was also an avid prairie schooler collector and had a lot of patterns on hand. So I I picked up the 2025 Santa because I didn't already have it, and just picked that up at camp as well. Cross My Heart had called me before camp and said that they had a pattern that was in for me, and would I like them to bring it to camp. So they brought it to camp for me so I wouldn't have to make a separate trip to the store. But I also picked up the Prairie Schooler Four Seasons. My coworker's mom had some of these printed as working copies in her stash, and so I ordered this to have the actual hard copy of the patterns so I could stitch them. So at some point in time I will be stitching the Prairie Schooler Four Seasons. These ones are stitched, it looks like on doesn't say what they're stitched on the back, but I might be stitching these on perforated paper. I don't know yet. It just kind of depends on what I can find, but that is a new thing to me. Talked about that. It was down there. So also at our table we had these little bags. These are our little retreat snack bags. We had just random snacks to share throughout the weekend. Again, rock around the clock, stitch around the clock, kind of a music themed weekend. So let's get into the stitching. So at camp I actually had a finish. So my friend Melanie Pratt, the lady that passed away in March of this year, quite unexpectedly, her and her friend Susan is a really good friend of hers that had went to camp with her to help her navigate the hotel room and all that stuff. Melanie Pratt was a remarkable person, a great spirit, bright, shining star. She was just a great person to get to know. She was a storyteller, into all things Celtic. She was Scottish, so she had all kinds of stuff going for her. She was a storyteller. She did all kinds of things in the storytelling community. She was a volunteer and storyteller up at the Cedar Bog, which is a preserve, I believe north of Dayton, so it's kind of northwest of Columbus. I believe that is where Cedar Bog is at. But she used to volunteer up there. She spent years and years and years doing events and storytelling and stuff. She'd travel all around. Very well known. She was also a geocacher, which I geocached as well. So whenever I'd see her at the shop, we would talk about geocaching. She was an avid stitcher. She was really into Prairie Schooler. She did a lot of Mill Hill stuff. And I took care of her cat. I don't know if you remember that, but last fall I took care of her cat while she was having her first knee surgery. Her whole goal for she was going to have both her knees replaced. So she had her first replacement surgery in the fall of last year after camp. And I went and watched her cat. Had a great time. Enjoyed her cat. Enjoyed spending time with Miss Luna Bon, her white cat. Had a great time. And anyway, she was supposed to have her second knee replacement surgery this March. Her whole entire goal for having knee replacement surgery was so that she could physically walk into Camp Gottastitch this year. Well, I found out kind of after the fact that her surgery in March was postponed because she was having some other health complications that they needed to address before they actually did her second knee replacement surgery. And she ended up wrenching her back. She went into the hospital and passed. Quite suddenly, actually. She was only in the hospital about a week and a half, 2 weeks at most, when she passed away. Which kind of threw everybody in for a loop. So we had her memorial service in May, but her whole goal was to walk into Camp Gottastitch this past weekend. And at her memorial service, her brothers brought in tubs, and I'm talking like those big tubs of a lot of her stash and her cross stitch and her, you know, just her crafts and her teddy bear and stuff like that. So this wonderful little guy was one of Mel's teddy bears. So I have one of Mel's teddy bears with me, and she's sitting in the craft room so she can enjoy being with me. But this was one of Mel's teddy bears that she collected. Anyway, I ended up with some of Mel's whips and some of Mel's Mill Hill kits. You've seen the videos where I showed some of the Mill Hill kit hauls and stuff like that. So I dedicated last weekend to Melanie, and I took some of her whips that I had acquired with me to camp with the goal of working on them and getting some of them finished. So last weekend, because Melanie couldn't actually walk into camp, I took Melanie with me to camp to stitch with Melanie all weekend. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I do have a finish. So Melanie and I at camp last weekend, we finished one of the Prairie Schooler Santas. So that was a nice retreat thing to do. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up. Wasn't really expecting to tear up. Anyway, so this is the Prairie Schooler Santa. Let me take this. That's why I brought this. This is the Prairie Schooler Santa that Melanie and I stitched. Melanie had she had all the yellow done. She didn't have she had all the yellow done. She didn't have any of the face done. She didn't have the holly done. She didn't have the border on one side. She had, I think, one side of the border done. I had to do the boots. I had to fill in the green. I had to fill in the bag with the dolly and the candy cane. So I had to fill in all that stuff. She had most of the Santa completed. So I managed to finish this at camp for Melanie and I. So I finished this on Saturday night, not long after we got back from dinner. So I do have this finished for Melanie and I. Hopefully she was there in spirit and she was cheering me on as I was stitching this. But anyway, yeah, I did have a Melanie finish last time, and she had also been working on the Little House Needleworks I Love My Home. This was a free pattern by Little House Needleworks, and I will show you. It's called I Love My Home. I'm not going to show you the pattern. Anyway, on this piece, Melanie had the green box down here done, the line of red hearts done, and that was it. So at the retreat Saturday and into Sunday, I filled in the word home. I did the part of the house and the 2 tree trunks here. I don't have too much more stitching to go. I have to put the final border all the way around. I have to stitch the leaves on the pine trees and the little heart motif kind of at the top in the middle, and put the 2 hearts on either side of a home, and I will be done with this. I was hoping to finish this at camp as well, but I ended up not really stitching much on Sunday into Monday. I didn't stitch a whole lot, so I got all of this done Saturday night before I went to bed, after I finished the Santa. So Melanie, hope you're watching. I'm getting some of your whips done. Hopefully that'll be a finish in September for me. I'm hoping to put that into September stitching. One of the other things that Melanie had started, she had done Prairie Schooler Baba Yaga. This is called Double Double, but I call it Baba Yaga because Melanie really liked the story of Baba Yaga. So Melanie had started stitching this, and this is where Melanie had got to. This was all Melanie stitching. I did not get a chance to work on this, partly because I was trying to figure out, this was the Stepping Stones Week Skyworks that Melanie was using, and if you look at the pattern, there's a lot more of the border, like with the skeletons or the skulls, the cats, the pumpkin, and the lizards and snakes that are supposed to be done in the same called for weeks color. I am probably going to be swapping it out for some darker colors and changing things up a little bit to kind of make this my own. I don't know if Melanie was just doing the witches or if she was going to do the whole thing. I'm going to be finishing off the whole thing for her. So this is Melanie stitching. At some point I will be finishing the Baba Yaga from Prairie Schooler for her. I call it the Baba Yaga just because I think that's what Melanie would have called it. So I will be working on that at some point. I did not get a chance to finish it or to work on it during camp. And those were really the three main pieces I was going to work on at camp. She also had this Prairie Schooler Santa in progress that is really close to being finished. I probably could have finished that too, but I had some questions that I needed to take care of. Oh, Prime is here. We're getting a Prime delivery. That is the Prime truck. I wonder if that's my stuff or what that'll be. But anyway, so I did have a finish. This is going in my to be finished pile, which is over there. And I will be continuing on with Melanie Pratt stitching. I have a lot of her other finished or pieces, works in progress in this bag here that I will be at some point trying to finish over the next few months. So you may be seeing more of that. But anyway, my weekend was all about Melanie Pratt. So hopefully you enjoyed the videos. Get this back in here too. Hopefully you enjoyed the videos and the pictures of Camp Gottastitch. So the neat thing is anybody that had finishes, that had project finishes over the weekend, this is really kind of special too. Got to pick from a bag of randomly wrapped little gifts for having a retreat finish. And because I had the Santa retreat finish, I got to pick two because they all knew that I was finishing for Melanie. So because I finished, Melanie also finished. So they let me pick out two. So one of the special things I got was this Lizzie Kate chart. Spread the love of God through your life. Use words when necessary. So this is a nice little pattern with a needlework kit, and it also comes. It's a whole kit. It comes with the fabric to stitch it with, and also the pattern for the needle roll. I'm not sure if you get enough fabric to do both in here, but you also get the little accoutrement. So this was a nice little retreat gift. And then there's another little finishing pillow that goes with this, but this is a little tuck pillow, a little Christmas theme tucked pillow that I also picked up as finishing gifts for the retreat. So that is, oh, here's the other little, another little tuck pillow, a Christmas themed tuck pillow that's a little ornament. So you stitch your piece and you just kind of tuck it inside so you can swap it out. It's not meant to be permanently finished, but little tuck pillows that I can use for dough bowls or whatnot. Yeah, so neat. That is everything I have for you from Camp Gottastitch that I wanted to share with you. I went to the Plaid Sheep while I was at camp. The Plaid Sheep is a quilting and quilting fabric store in Berlin, Ohio, that is really well known. They do carry the full line of Valdani threads and also the Sulky Petite spools of thread that people stitch with, which is one of the reasons why I go in there. But they also carry quite a few punch needle kits and some punch needle accessories and tools. So I was in there looking at that. Picked up a couple of small pieces of fabric to use for finishing, and also some fabric squares to make those little needle pin cushions that I was talking about making as table things. So I picked up a couple of those. I don't really have them handy to show you, but anyway, I did pick those up, and that was all I got from retreat stitching. So I am going to be kind of filming a follow-up video. This is going to be a little over an hour and a half long, so I'm going to be doing a follow-up video for you next. Just kind of wrapping up August and talking to you about September and my September plans. So be on the lookout for that video, also hopefully coming up later tonight. I'm going to try and get this video spliced and edited, and in the process of saving so I can go ahead and record the next video for you, and we'll just kind of go from there and see how things go. But other than that, I really hope that you really like the Camp Gottastitch video, and I hope that maybe sometime soon we can meet you at another retreat. So that being said, thank you very much for stopping by. I look forward to spending time with my friends, and you're no different, so thank you very much. Keep your head up and keep moving forward, because that's all we can do at this point in time. And we'll see you soon, okay? Very soon, actually. Take care, you guys. Bye.